Hey guys, thank you for joining us again on Unorthodox Thoughts. We are back going through the month of February in our totally unorthodox devotional planner. The link is in the description if you're interested in following along. So here we are, February week 3, and we are looking at how do we go against the current society and what that looks like when trying to demonstrate faith in God's kingdom. So Dr. Lily, ironically, I think we're really, really good at going against society. But let's talk about that a little bit today. How do we do that when it looks so different from what everybody else is doing around us?
So, in order for you to go against societal norms, cultural norms, like expectations from like family, friends, groups, community, you really have to be strong, right? Like you need to be like covered in Vaseline so that when all the critics come up and like they come out of the woodworks and the hurtful things that they say kind of just like slide off of you. And so
because now you just told all our business, everybody know we from the streets now. Everybody know we from the inner city. You talking about covered in Vaseline. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
ahead. I'm just saying, like, and God does that for us. God sort of prepares us, not by giving us Vaseline, right? But by like making us strong and confident so that we understand the things that are going on in the spiritual realm, and that we see the chats and the talks and the opposition as spiritual things that are coming up, and they're not about the person, they're not about the institution, it's not about what is being said. It's more of the spiritual warfare that we go through. And so, we're going to read Romans 16:25, which talks about how God gives us strength and like helps us get through these things. He says, I give all my praises and glory to the one who has more than enough power to make you strong and keep you steadfast through the promises found in the wonderful news that I preach. That is the proclamation of Jesus, the Anointed One. So in this verse, we see that God will give us that strength. He will give us that power. When you decide to break the norm, when you decide to be the first one to go to college after, in your family and not just work and help with the rent, there's going to be criticism about that. There's going to be hardships. I promise you, the month that there's not enough money to pay the rent, people will come looking at you like you taking from the pot instead of adding to the pot, right? If you decide that you are going to be a career woman and that you're going to build this business, but you're married and you have kids, I promise you, the kids will rise against you. The husband will rise against you. Not that they want to, not that they mean to, but because it's part of what comes with the territory. They're going to be like, what's going on? I haven't had a home cooked meal in a week. I've plenty of times heard that from my child. Or the husband, it's like, yo, we haven't like hung out. We haven't done this. And so those are constant reminders, or we might take them as criticisms for the things that we're doing, and they might very well be so, but you need to understand the context. You need to be strong. You need to be in a position where you're confident about what your purpose is. You have faith that God is going to see you through this, and God will supply you with what you need, right? And that's also in itself a step in faith that God is going to come through. So really, this whole, whenever you take on a purpose, whenever you take on a mission in God's kingdom, or you pursue a dream, there will be times where you will feel discouraged. There will be times when people will question that, when people will say like, what are you doing? Like, do this. Why don't you do what women do? Why don't you take care of your family? Why don't you just stop being so stressed and just get a regular job? People will say that because they don't have the vision that you have. They don't have the calling that you have. They don't have the purpose that you have. And that's fine. That doesn't mean you kind of X out all these people. It just means that you have an understanding of where they stand. You have an understanding of your calling, and that will not shake you. That will not move you. And there is, again, no way that you can follow a purpose, you can follow a dream without disrupting societal norms for you. The world likes to keep us in these boxes, in these very predictable roles, and God calls us to move out of those. So you will encounter hardships, you will encounter criticism, but God says He has your back. He'll take care of it.
really clear that I know sometimes we jump on here and in 5 minutes we're like, God got this, right? And what you don't see is the depth of being women executives and of building multi-million-dollar companies, and the hell we've had to encounter as a result of God telling us to push forward in ways we didn't even want to push forward. We didn't want to build multi-million-dollar companies. We didn't want to be executives. We didn't want to be entrepreneurs. God really pulled us along the way in our purpose to that. And it's difficult. We broke a lot of societal norms. We were not always home for dinner, right? And that impacts our children and impacts our husbands. And we traveled a lot for business. There were days, I remember one month I counted that Lily and I were gone for 17 days out of 1 month traveling for business. And these times were hard, right? But they were still God sent. We knew that God had given us this purpose. The problem is, to the world, it could look like, what a selfish person. She's chasing her career. What a selfish mother. She's not there for every single school play that it should be there. We felt that guilt. We felt that shame. We also heard the voice of God saying, do what I tell you to do. Now we live in a position that we can do whatever we want to do, right? God has blessed us in such a way that we are home with our children. We virtually school them, and we probably spend a lot more time with them than we were ever used to in life, but we were given that lifestyle after that sacrifice. And it took that faith, and breaking those societal norms, challenging men at the boardroom, challenging investors to back our projects when they felt that a man could do it better. It took the faith in God that we could change those societal norms for us to get to a place that we did, right? And that took bravery. Pray for the bravery. Pray for the strength. God, Lily said it. He's already given it to us. It's in you. It is ready to be grown and blossom. Pray for him to blossom that in you, because if he called you to it, again, he will bring you through it, right?
Absolutely.
So we talk a lot about creating professional relationships and boundaries. And so this is really what it looks like to break societal norms, putting up the right boundaries, right? And we're talking, when we talk about healthy boundaries, we're not talking about being nasty or cutting people off and bump this person because they don't support my dream. What we are saying is establishing the right boundaries in which you can build your dream. And people understand that this dream is ordained by God, right? We challenge you this week to look at the people in your life, whether it is, a coworker, a boss, a family member, sometimes even our own children, that are impeding on the boundaries that give us the purpose God has asked us to work on. And then asking God to allow us to see how to create healthy boundaries to support that person who needs us, as well as the purpose that God has given us. That is your challenge for the week out of our growth workbook. Really take a look at, where do you need additional boundaries created in your life in order to fulfill your purpose?
Yeah. And if that means having, difficult conversations, or, getting help, or, outsourcing something, or, having a sit down conversation with your husband saying, this is the season I'm in, and, I need this from you. So it's really about setting up yourself so that you can be productive and meet the expectations of the season that you're in, and meet the expectations that God has for you to bless you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining in again with us. We'll be back next Monday. Keep following along with our unorthodox thoughts as we really get to the bottom of what it is to be a boss Christian woman leader. Guys, have a wonderful week.